finally showcases that diplomacy can work and can end wars, and the situation that Israel and its neighbors have been experiencing over the last year may be going towards the end, at least when it comes to the front on Israel's northern border.
So what do we know of the details of the proposal? 60 days, but what will be the role of the Lebanese army, the UN peacekeeping force UNIFIL, and the expectations of Hezbollah and the IDF?
So within the 60-day period, what is supposed to happen is that Hezbollah will go beyond the area that is near the border with Israel. Responsibility for that part will be assumed by the Lebanese army that could be beefed up, plus the UNIFIL forces that are already there, but their importance will be on the rise. There will be some sort of an international committee with Americans and European countries that will be monitoring the implementation and guaranteeing the implementation of the agreement. And from the Israeli side, there will be eventually withdrawal from the IDF forces, the Israeli military forces, back to the border, the international recognized border between Israel and Lebanon. So all of this happened within the 60-day period, after which I think if all goes successfully, conditions will be ripe to make this arrangement a more permanent one, and then perhaps move forward to discussing other pressing issues between the countries, like the disagreements on the land border, maybe leveraging this ceasefire agreement into something that is more transformational when it comes to Israel-Lebanese relations.
Now, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has faced criticism over this deal within his cabinet from Ben Gvir, but also from residents in Israel's north. What calculation is he making here?
First, he had a very clear majority in the cabinet, so apart from Minister Ben Gvir, who opposed, he had 10 ministers supporting that. So that's quite a clear majority. There is criticism coming on this deal because people expected more. People are very cautious of what might happen next. You know, the lessons that Israel has gained from this year led to a lot of insecurity, especially with people who lived in the north, who evacuated their homes, they were away for a year from their houses, did not know to which condition of a home they will come back, and they want to get this sense of security that they are taken care of and can return safely to their place of living. And there is a lot of concern because this agreement is a very pragmatic and practical one. It doesn't set up higher expectations beyond what's possible. It's not talking about a total abolishment of Hezbollah, and there is space for all kind of things to resurface in terms of the tension between Israel and Hezbollah. But I think it should be enough in order to go into a path of de-escalation, of gradually creating the conditions in which people feel a bit more safer. So Netanyahu is on safe ground in Israel, although people are attacking him from all kind of political directions. I think the aspiration now shared by many Israelis that whatever happened now in Lebanon will also happen with Gaza, enabling the return home of the Israeli hostages and finally getting a way for all people of the region to transition from war to peacemaking. With Gaza, it's more difficult.
When Hezbollah dropped its insistence that any ceasefire would require the war in Gaza to end, was that a pivotal point, and what does this now mean for the war in Gaza?
This was a pivotal point. That was something that Israel wanted to achieve for quite a while and couldn't. I think after the set of attacks on Hezbollah leadership, starting 2 or 3 months ago, that was a game-changing. Hezbollah suffered a lot of blows by the Israeli military, really diminishing its power and changing, again, the calculation and decision-making processes, leading Hezbollah leaders, but also behind the scenes, probably others, to acknowledge that this linkage is now in place. Officials in Lebanon were, by the way, calling for that much earlier. So the leadership of Lebanon, and Lebanon is within a leadership crisis, but the caretaker prime minister, the foreign minister, were advocating for such a deal before and should be satisfied by this result. What it means for Gaza is that basically the stagnation that is happening now in Gaza with Israeli military forces based within the Gaza Strip is not likely to change, I think, anytime soon, as long as the current Israeli coalition with far-right members and ideology still in place. So the Israeli thinking by Netanyahu and his allies is we need to maintain the presence in Gaza for security reasons, also maybe for ideological reasons. So this is not going to change, as I see it, in the near future.
And what work now needs to take place for this to be the basis of a lasting ceasefire?
A successful implementation. So if the 60-day period goes well, people feel more secure with the mechanism that has been put in place, with the guarantees of countries that have close to Israel, but also have leverage on Lebanon, enabling people to finally show or see that the reality of war is coming to an end, and they can gradually try and return to their normal life. I think nobody will feel the same sense of security in Israel's north as they did before October 7th and the attack by Hezbollah starting the day afterwards. But at least, that's part of the healing process of the Israeli society, probably of the Lebanese society as well, going back to the houses, doing the reconstruction, trying to bring families together, return to normal life. That's a very important step, I think, in the process of going out of this dire situation. And we have strong commitment by regional, by international actors to do what they can to make it happen. And that should be reassuring. But the tensions are still very much there, especially between Israel and Iran. We saw the tit-for-tat exchanges earlier this year. So things can still go wrong, and it requires a lot of delicate diplomacy and commitment, but the conditions are good and the breakthrough is important.